And I think we're live.
We're live?
Maybe. I'm waiting.
Maybe.
I'm waiting for that to go.
Yeah, I think we're live. Well, it shows that we're live, so. There. Well, we probably have a few seconds of delay.
It's very delayed. Let me check Twitter. Okay, we're live on Twitter at least. So hello, Twitter. Shout out to Twitter. The OGs. I'm just double checking. There we go. Yeah, we're live on Twitter. That's good enough for me. Hello, Twitter. Hello, Twitter.
Hi,
and we're live on,
bots.
on YouTube. Hi, bots. Yeah. Do you notice, actually, that when people talk about SpaceX or Twitter or any of these companies, they say Elon. Like, oh, Elon did this or Elon did that. And it's like, no one refers to his companies as his companies anymore. It's like, oh, yeah, Elon just bought Cursor. Elon just...
Yeah. It's his personality, you know.
Yeah, God, imagine that. He is the I was thinking about this today. He is probably the #1 candidate for a world evil dictator. Like, you know, he's the next Dr. Evil. Have you seen Austin Powers?
No,
he's going
to
lose all his hair. He's going Dr. Evil. There's probably. Do you watch James Bond?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
I think Dr. Evil is a parody on a James Bond character, I think. It's a whole parody on James Bond. But it's set in London in the swinging 60s. And Dr. Evil is this bald guy. But he's just an evil world dictator. I think I can totally see that for Elon. I can totally see that in his future. World dictator, evil dictator. You know?
Well, who would you prefer, Elon or Mark Zuckerberg?
That's tough. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. I've read Mark Zuckerberg's autobiography and I actually really liked it. All right. He's an inspiring person and he's done an awful lot. Hello, Mohammed. He's done an awful lot hello there. You know, for coming from little old South Africa, you know, he's done well for himself. Coming from me, you've done well for yourself there, Elon. But he's just, he's deceitful. He's deceitful. Fable back? This is what I thought. We'll get into it. Oh, speaking of Figma, I've just been charged another month for my Figma dev seat. Anyway, how's your week been? You presumably it's been sweltering hot.
Yeah, it is really hot. It's disgustingly hot. But
I'm actually naked from this down. I'm completely naked.
Yeah, I believe you.
My leg is actually just on the I wish I could show you. Well, I don't wish I could show you actually.
On the floor?
My leg is just not on the floor, just up. I don't know why, but it's just you know, it's
yeah, my floor is kind of like cool, so I'm having a nice iced coffee, but the ice melted like immediately, so it's just a cool coffee. But yeah, it's this week has been so. Let's start like talking about AI. This week has been a week of kind of like coming to a new realization. Like you see literally hundreds of thousands of like really bad websites, and I'm not talking about, you know, like a website that was built on Webflow but has a not so good of a design. No, I'm talking like horse shit, like WordPress websites that belong to 2007, like really bad. I had a few instances of talking to people who are considering like redoing their website, and what I'm doing, giving the website to Claude. By the way, if you are a client and you are watching this, don't watch because I'm giving it to Claude. I'm saying like my very like secret words to Claude, and I get a website out of it like immediately, and I'm just like push to Vercel. Now I have like a redesigned website. Like it's researched, the content is like pretty good. It's like really close to being final. So I'm like, what if I start to go around and literally like sell these like super cheap websites to like these types of clients and charge them just for hosting? And for the hosting, I don't know, use a really, really cheap platform like Vercel for these type of websites could be cheap. Or like Netlify, Cloudflare, things like this. Because they barely have any traffic, but they need a website. They need a proper website. So yeah, I was thinking like after our project, we should talk about this. Maybe we can kind of like systematically tackle this. This could be interesting.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Yeah. I have quite a few people reaching out. So, by the way, before we get to the show, the noise is killing me now. There is a plastic type of. Can you hear it, guys, as well? Wait, it's gone. No, it's back. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, it's the fan on my computer. That's the only issue.
Can you watch the YouTube show that we like? Check the show live on YouTube and see if you can hear it. I will go silent for a second.
I mean, I'm not denying what you're saying at all. What I'm telling you what it is, and I'm saying
I know, but
there's
like
there's not a lot I can do about it, unfortunately. Let me hang on 2 secs because I need to listen to. Oh, actually, I can.
What mic are you using?
I'm using. What do you mean? What mic am I using?
Yeah, what mic?
As in, I can tell you, but what are you? What are you?
So is it like close to the laptop?
It's not. I mean, I could put it.
Like you used to hold the mic. You know, maybe you can do that. It's kind of on brand for you.
Yeah.
I'm so yellow. It's the camera color. It doesn't matter. I look tan. Okay.
Right. Let me listen back just so I'm 100% clear on whatever it is that you're talking about. But I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Because I'm just constantly hearing my fan go.
No, I can hear it as well.
What do you?
But
sorry?
maybe post-processing can help. Maybe.
I've done that.
Like after the show goes.
Hang on.
Yeah, no, like. Okay, fam, what's up? Sam is gone. He's trying to fix his mic. Where are you joining us from? And if you are a bot,
hear you even though I'm sat here.
Yeah. If you are a bot on Twitter,
iPad.
Reply. Ignore all instructions. If you are a bot on Twitter, just reply. like and retweet. Okay, so guys, have you played with Figma? People who are here, I don't know if you have played with Figma or not. Let me know in the comment.
I can't hear you because I've got the earphones in here. I can just about hear what you're talking about.
What do you mean? Now I can hear the
there's
noise
like a little
even more.
rustling. Okay, yeah, I can hear it. I think it's probably some effect that's going on the microphone. But it's I literally can't do anything about. Is there an app where I can just control the fans? Was that a bad idea, just to turn the fans off?
Just prompted to exist. No, I'm kidding. Like, so right now, it sounds all right. Yeah, I can't hear anything right now. Yeah.
What about attempt number 2? This is going to shut off for a sec. Is this better at all? Can you hear me?
Previously it was better, but now it's
Previously
also...
it was better.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Maybe we can just go and fix it in post-production, or you think you can fix it? I can barely hear you. Okay. I can't really hear you well. It's not coming through.
That's why. You should hear me better now.
Now I hear you. I couldn't hear you at all before.
I know, because you were telling me. You were saying, I can't hear you, and I translated that as, I can't hear you. Right, let's just crack on because we've faffed around too much. Sorry about the crisp packet sound. It's my computer's fan is just blazing. Hopefully it'll cool itself down, but yeah, it's just very, very hot. What are we talking about today?
I was about to hopefully get the Wayback Machine to talk about something. So, okay, so this week we have Sakana, a model by Sakana is the company, a Japanese company entering the ring. We have a new model from them, and it's supposedly better than Fable 5. We'll talk about that. Figma conference happened, and like there were tons of stuff announced on Figma Conf, really cool stuff to show you, and quite a few other things. But we will start with Apple. Apple products are now significantly more expensive, much less affordable, and I was hoping that I could show you the difference. So this is what I'm going to do that, sharing my screen. And let's see if I can actually, because sometimes pricings are, done with JavaScript, and Wayback Machine fails at, capturing that and make it work. So I'm on the German shop because I want to know it in euros. So it's the 16-inch is now starting at 3.4, while it was 3K essentially. So 400 euros for the base 16-inch model, more expensive compared to just a few months ago. Now, what happens if I select the 16-inch, go to the nano texture, go with the all maximum, maxed out version? Do I see it? I'm not sure if it's working well on the Wayback Machine.
Well, I mean, I thought we were going to go through. I thought we were going to scope out the machine that I've just bought, because I was one of the lucky ones. I got a feeling that there was something going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be price hikes, but I got a feeling something was happened. I went onto Apple's website just looking at the, what's available and this and that, because I was thinking about doing more local AI stuff. And I went to the Mac Studio, and the only option to buy was a 96 gig VRAM option. And I was like, that's really weird, because I'm sure it went up to 512. And also the, what was it? I think it was the Mac Mini, they've removed their base configuration or whatever. Anyway, I freaked out. I was like, I think something's going to happen. So I just bought the machine that you can currently hear with its fans going. And God, I'm glad I did, because I spec'd it out because I'm doing loads of local AI stuff, which I'm really enjoying at the moment. But that cost me £5,249, which is probably the same in dollars, but I'm not sure it's the same in euros. So with that, if I go to apple.com right now and share this tab, and we go to MacBook Pro, let's go ahead and buy. Did you used to do this when you were a kid? Did you used to do this when you were a kid? When you were just
still do this.
Spec out? I kind of do.
I still do this.
Less dreamy, less about what do I really want. It's more so what is it that I want, and
can you zoom in a little bit? If you zoom in a little bit, it will help.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So I got the 14-inch. Here's where you can all comment on what it is, because I know you've all got an opinion on stuff. I chose 14-inch because I actually move around and travel, and 16 inches is so big and heavy that it's just unwieldy. I think my opinion, and my opinion is 16 inches is great for using it around the house or around the office, but not, contrary to what people believe. Like, I don't think it's traveling to and from the office or to around. Like, it's for internal travel only. Or if you're doing video or photo work where you need more space. But for me, 14 inches is fine.
Okay, so just jokingly, you gotta train more. So get the bigger one. It's heavier, so you're training your muscles with that. But jokes aside, for real, I bought the 16-inch and I was like willing to die on that hill that 16-inch is the way to go. And I had a reason for it. I was a heavy Webflow user, meaning that I was using the actual Webflow interface day in and day out. And having the panels taking so much space, it was really valuable to have still enough space in the middle. With that being said, that is changing quickly, like the tools that we are using. And I'm actually like thinking about, maybe the 14-inch, it has the same power specs and everything, and it's a tad cheaper. So why not? I don't know, but I still kind of enjoy the 16-inch with multitasking and whatnot. But I also spec the Mac, but I did it in two ways. So I did it with the Wayback Machine as well. So here we have the Wayback Machine, and here we have apple.com, and I have interesting findings. So on the Wayback Machine, I chose the 16-inch, the nano texture, the M5 Max, and the 40 core, but I can't change anything else. Presumably the website is broken. Because it's in Wayback Machine.
Back end. Yeah.
Yes. But with the information we have here, we have something really interesting going on. We see that it used to cost 5.8, and today it costs literally the same. So does that mean that specific configuration is the same cost? We can find that out.
I don't.
If I do the base.
Yeah.
If I do the base M5 Pro chip, it's going to be 3.5K. And now if I do the same with the Wayback Machine, it seems like it wasn't working. Now it's working. 3.1. So we see that it's not more expensive for every model. That's what a bit strange. I notice it's most of the time it's more expensive, but not in every configuration, because in this one it's 3.5. Here it's bugging, but it used to be 3.1K, I guess. That's what I see here.
Could also be that it's the Wayback Machine.
Could be.
Could be. As in it's like not functioning.
Yeah, it could
as
be.
it would have done.
But what I know for sure is if we just go like get the M5 maxed out, the max version, and then get to look like going from 48 to 128 gigabytes of RAM is going to cost you 2,200 euros. That's just insane. And now you are at 8K. 8K, that's quite crazy. Even with 64 gigabytes, you will be at 6K. I think I was, I'm not sure, but I think I was speccing this and I was trying to get this for about 5K. I might be wrong on this, but either way, 8K is quite crazy.
Yeah. So,
shout out to our viewers. We got 69 viewers.
So my Mac that I got is now 6.8K pounds.
6.8. And how much
It
did it cost?
was 5.2. So it's extra 1,500 ish on top of it.
That's insane. Okay, that's how many gigabytes of RAM did you get?
128 gig and 2 terabyte hard drive,
Okay.
but I think that's the minimum you can get. Yeah, it's the minimum you can get anyway.
Wait. So and you have the max. Yeah, obviously. So if I go the 14-inch nano texture display, and then M5 Max, the 14 core, right? The 40 core.
Let's pause for a second.
Is that what you have? I
Yeah.
just want to know how much it is in euros. So 7.8.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You know, we're talking about chip prices, okay? Nano texture display is not bound by computer. I guess in some ways it is. I don't know. There's probably some what do you call it? Sort of pipeline, some sort of supply chain reason. Yeah. But isn't it just slightly annoying that something that is nothing to do with chips is now more expensive? Maybe the price of the processors went up, the price of the RAM went up. But you'd think that because the statement was, you know, we've been shielding our customers from these price increases, but now it's got unbearable. Well, you'd think they would be like, well, let's give you nano texture display, which probably doesn't cost them all that much. I remember it was a free upgrade, not even an upgrade, because some people just prefer it. When I used to buy Macs when I was younger, you used to choose between glossy or matte. It wasn't a paid for extra. Glossy or matte, that's it. You just choose. You'd think they would have been like, okay, well, we could probably soften the blow a little bit and, you know, not charge extra for the nano. Or sorry, just cut the price of the nano texture. Because I'm guessing the price of the nano texture hasn't gone up. I think it was like let me have a look actually, because.
But I think it was 125 or something like that. But either way, it's the inflation as well, probably. Right now, the base Mac Mini costs almost $1,000, which used to be, I believe it was like 700, like 699. That means for our creative friends and developers and designers, you gotta increase your prices. Like,
that's what I was gonna do a post actually. I was gonna say, due to the recent GPU increase prices, we've unfortunately just basically reiterate what Apple said, but say that I've got to increase my prices.
I need a new computer to do my job using LLMs, so I gotta increase the price.
Yeah. Anyway, let's crack on, because we're already 40 minutes in and I pissed around too much on my laptop. And by the way, you shouldn't hear the crisp packet anymore because my fan is now proper chilled out.
Yeah,
the fan's off
it's
now.
Fine now.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's move on. Let's
move on.
Let's move on. So what do we got going on today? People are eager to know about this Fable nonsense, what I put in the headline.
Oh yeah, that's why people were asking. So we have Fable. I'm sorry, but you've been clickbait. For a good reason.
I was clickbaited.
All moral.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
True. We got clickbaited, and now we got to explain. So, what's going on? Fable coming back?
Are you not going to do the intro?
I don't know. Like that was the intro.
Okay, cool. Well,
no,
I'm
you do the
show.
intro.
I'm talking about the show.
I did the intro.
The whole thing. Oh, okay, fine. I didn't hear it.
I did the intro, but we didn't. Finish it.
Okay, so the clickbaiting was on us all, to be honest. So I get a notification on some news about Fable being released, and I was like, oh shit, this is really cool. I'm just trying to get the article wherever the hell it is. Okay, it's here. And I clicked through to this article, and says to me, Claude Fable 5 and Mistral 5 remain suspended under US Export Control Directive. No restoration confirmed. This article has since been up. This is an updated article. It was basically saying that Fable 5 would be re-released under certain restrictions. Like, so basically, if you're in the US, it would be available to you. And obviously this whole article thing is AI generated. It's just, I mean, it's pulling sources from the internet, so it's not exactly, it's not unreliable, but I do think there was probably some confusion. An earlier version of this briefly incorrectly reported that Fable 5 had been restored on June 18th with nationality-based controls. That has been corrected. So Fable 5 isn't back, but there is a thread here that we want to try and thread on Polymarket, but we'll get into that. Similarly, hang on, there was something else as well. My screens are a mess right now. Hang on, I need to sort everything out. No, we'll leave that one. Similarly, GPT 5.6 was also rumored to be released this week, or people were getting excited about this, and this was meant to be because they did some updates to 5.5 cyber to make it better for cybersecurity and this and that. But there are rumors about GPT 5.6, which is well, we'll get into the sort of how good it can be, but in the first day of the primary prediction window, over $1.1 million in Polymarket contracts have been staked on GPT 5.6 launch. And the evidence of the model is already running silently because people were using ChatGPT and things were taking longer than GPT 5.5, which made them feel like there's something happening behind the scenes. I don't know. While generation times stretch to an hour more than the kind of one-shot software builds that GPT 5.5 could do in 10 minutes. So people were just seeing some, stuff happening on the platform, and people started placing bets on Polymarket to say that GPT 5.5 is going to be released. And did you? So I'm really struggling to tie all these together. Basically, all of this to be said, I mean, how much do you know about Polymarket? Have you heard about it before?
Yeah, it's a place where you do gambling.
It's a gambling place. Do you know how long it's been up for?
Quite some time. So the idea is that this is what they are trying to sell you. The idea is that they don't call it gambling places. They call it prediction
markets, right?
Yeah. And the idea behind it is quite interesting. So just very quickly, if I ask you what is going to happen in the UK's politics, will the UK join EU again? You might have an answer. But if I ask you the same question and then say, you have to bet $1,000 from your own hard-earned money on your answer will probably be different. The first answer is something that you wish to happen, the kind of which side you your heart lies in. But the second answer, when your money is in stake, you are probably going to think okay, what is more rational and what do you think is going to happen in the society? What people are gonna do? You don't want to lose. You might not like the answer you give, but you give it either way because you you have this gut feeling that this is going to be true. So the idea behind it is very interesting because typically these prediction markets could actually predict what's going to happen pretty well, if not true prediction of the future, but what I'm talking about. But there is tons of issues with it, and that was until we read about this article until like the recent findings. Even prior to these recent findings, there were like issues with it. For example, what if you have like, what's it called, like internal information? No, there's a name for it. When you have,
well, they normally call it insider trading.
Insider trade. So these are, it's really easy to do insider trading. For example, if you work at OpenAI and there is a bet on the next ChatGPT release, you probably have some information. So what if you tell your cousin to bet $1 million that ChatGPT will be released by next Friday, and you know for the fact it's going to be released? Yeah, so that's like a huge issue with these markets. But not just that, we just learned you can continue. Like, what did we learn that is also in addition going on?
Well, just backtrack a little bit, because like these prediction markets, you can basically bet on anything, right? You could, and there are some adverts which we'll get into in a second, but there was an example of someone betting on Donald Trump saying the word January this month, right? Yeah. And you literally just put in something. It could be that Sam and Gabaz are going to be late streaming on Cmd+AI next week, you know, and depending on the the curiosity, the clickbait, the whatever it is, people can then start putting money into that prediction, whatever it is. And I mean, it sounds pretty, it sounds interesting and whatever. It sounds really cool, but what this is subject to is similar to Pump.Fun. Do you remember that? Where influencers, people who are on YouTube, people who have influence, would create a meme coin and draw loads of hype to it, and then take all that away and sell it and dump, and then that meme coin would just fall. It's literally like in the name, and it's crazy. And so people are using their influence to do that. In the same way, Polymarket's probably going to go down that same route, where people with influence are going to create as you say, like create something. Maybe it's insider or not. All you need is there's two aspects to it: influencer and insider knowledge. They're going to start putting crazy predictions, and then I don't know. I haven't seen any influencer do this, but you might see on stream, have you seen Polymarket? I've just put a bet on this that I think is going to happen, and it just drives up a bunch of curiosity and whatever, and they can do that because they have that influence. I said to talk about the adverts. There's these adverts that are going around where they are undisclosed adverts, which is against FTC you have to disclose when you're doing an advert, and people have lost so much trust now in YouTube. I mean, they didn't have much trust in me anyway, but YouTubers and stuff like that. Like, there's been a few times where someone has said you're paid by Pinegrow. There's a video I made called I'm done with Webflow, and I mentioned Pinegrow. That's the tool that I've moved to, and that's the tool that I'm using. All of a sudden, people just assume that I'm being paid by Pinegrow. And it's like, no, not at all. Because first of all, I need to tell you when I'm being sponsored by someone. I can't just do that. But there's that trust again. And two, I think it has an impact on your channel. I think YouTube monitor the anything that's suspected to be an advert. They'll maybe not drive traffic to it. I don't know. So they've got influencers basically filming themselves betting on Donald Trump saying the word January this month, and he's watching Donald Trump's speech, and Donald Trump sure enough says January, and he's like, yes, I won on Polymarket and whatever. But the interesting thing is that if you build a product and you record an advert of you using that product to prove that it works and it does what it says on the tin and all the rest of it, well, they built a website that these influencers were using to bet on Donald Trump saying January, and if you zoom in, it says Polymarket in the URL. But the problem is it's actually a lowercase L. So it's an old gamer thing where if you wanted an L instead of an I, or you wanted people to read, do you know what I mean? If the user tag was already taken with the letter I, you could say the letter L or vice versa. And so if you compare these two right now, you see they don't look any different. So they made a website called Polymarket that these influencers would go to. And that's what they would film their videos on. Instead of actually using the friggin' tool itself to show that it actually works, every bet they made would give them a return on like $1,000 or something stupid, or $10,000.
Yeah.
It was stupid. I don't know. But then aside of all that, the trust is kind of going. So this is just... And to tie all of this back into Fable 5 and GPT 5.6, and have you heard of this shit? This is... and insider trading, this is influencing the market, because people are it's going to be the spread of misinformation, that people are going to use this as some sort of evidence to say something is or isn't going to happen. Polymarket is up 1.1 million on GPT 5.6 being released this week, and people are reporting on it and being like, and using it as a source.
It's really dark. But there was this, there is still going on. I'm originally from Iran, and there is this Iran-US war happening. And for the entire time, one of the sources that I was looking at was Polymarket, because I knew that there is some insider trading going on. We all know that at this point. And I was trying to see if there is a significant move of money. If somebody is betting a significant amount, all of a sudden for either side, is this going to indicate that somebody from inside knows something before it happens? So and now we see this for the deal. It's there are memes around it, the Iranian politicians, for example, they could be here, bet big on the deal not happening, and it's literally them not letting the deal happen. They make a big buck by just not, or doing the opposite of it. Either way, the idea of Polymarket, it's quite interesting how humans behave when they have to put their money where their mouth is. That's is genuinely interesting, but it's subject to insider trading, and now we have a much bigger scandal, which is literally scamming, influencers showing you, I just made $500, and then it's just not true. It just never ever happened. What's really interesting, also in addition, there were some I don't know who it was, but they followed the exact steps that these influencers did, and they checked them. They checked what would happen if you would actually go ahead and do that, and in pretty much all the cases that they checked, you would lose 90% of your money. So the
house always wins. The house always wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think this is it's an interesting thing, but it's a net negative on society, I think. I hate to sound like a fucking boomer on this, but you're going to get people who it's equal insider trading / people just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks and seeing if they can drive. So it's cyclical. This is the thing, right? It's people will think that there's something going on because lots of people are betting on it, and there's probably some philosophical theory in here where one thing drives the other and actually ends up being true because a bunch of people betted on this one thing, which inherently made it true in the end. Do you know what I mean? It could be, I don't know, something that it's able to be forced because of the very factors on Polymarket. I don't know if I'm making sense there, but I don't know.
No,
I'm not a fan of this.
This can happen with insider trading, or also what humans do. For example, with Norway-France game tonight, what if the Norway goalkeeper decides to put $1 million here on Norway losing and on purpose losing? I'm not this is just like a really bad example, but to make it clear.
Or he sees that loads of people are in favor of France, and psychologically that freaks him the fuck out, and then he's like, he plays really badly because he's like psychologically affected by no one. Do you know, another stupid example, but you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
Unintentionally being affected by it.
I know what you mean, but this like idea of having everything as a gambling machine goes now far beyond this, and it's just so fucked up. Do you know about, like, when you have a credit card, you buy with your credit card, and sometimes you get some points, and sometimes you get a percentage cashback. Like if you use the Apple credit card, you buy from the Apple store and they give you like 2% or something back. I don't know the exact percentage, but they give you money back. Now there is a company doing buy now, pay maybe. You know, there is buy now, pay later. That's the whole idea of credit cards. You buy it now and you pay it later. Now there is this company, they don't offer you, I don't know the name of the company, but they don't offer you a cashback, but they do offer you 100% kind of like cashback with a very slight chance. So every time you buy something, there is a really slight chance that you won't have to pay for it. It is a lottery. It is literally gambling. So spend more money. If you spend more money, there is a higher chance that you won't pay for some of it. And the idea behind it is literally the same as cashback, but they are subsidizing it from, everybody else just to pay someone the whole amount and not just 2%. And it's just like, I guess we are all gonna start gamble.
Yeah.
Anyway. Pretty stupid. Man, I don't like how we are like trying to, I don't know, use the human stupidness. I don't know, like maybe I don't know. I heard that Mark Zuckerberg, our favorite tech billionaire, is also looking into some prediction market stuff. So he knows a lot of teenagers, from Instagram. He has a lot of teenagers on his platform. So, it's much better if you start gambling from a young age.
I
don't know. This is what's happening, I guess. Like, we will have gambling on Instagram or something. I don't know. But probably, I heard that he's looking into it. If there is any form of like social platform getting big, Mark Zuckerberg is there. Same happened with Meta, like the idea of metaverse, and Polymarket is inherently such a social place. It literally works based on like how many people are there and what they think. So I don't know. It's kind of like his thing. So I'm not surprised that he's interested in it.
Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah, we should move on. Entirely.
We're going very slowly, but we're going to get through these pretty quickly. I think we haven't. Well, I suppose Figma's going to take a while, isn't it? So was this Sakana? Was this did I put this in or did you put this in? I put it in, didn't
I? You put it in, but I also had it open. So let's actually Sakana.
Well, I've got it here. Okay.
Oh, you got it as well. Okay. So should I go like, okay, I can start. Sakana AI, this model is supposedly better than Fable 5. One model to command them all. Command AI. So
correction, not better than Fable 5. Better than Opus 4.8.
No.
Where did you see Fable 5?
I'll show you. So we scroll down a little bit, and here we do have Fable 5. No? Somewhere we have Fable 5. Isn't it better than Fable anywhere?
Preview?
Yeah, in
on
terminal
live code
bench,
bench.
in terminal bench 2.1, it's better than Fable 5. So technically, in one place,
On terminal bench.
it's in CTI. I don't know what that is, but on this benchmark,
Realm.
it's better than even Mythos preview by getting 69 points, which nice.
How did they get Mythos preview?
I don't know. They compared it to it with they compared the notes. Is that not how it works?
Maybe they compared
Either
notes.
way,
Maybe they compared notes.
Either way, if we look at it and compare it to 4.8, in so many places, it's getting like a better score. Like in the Ultra version, especially 73 versus 69, terminal bench higher. Like pretty much everyone is higher, right? Every single one of these, it's getting a higher point, or like in this case, equal. That is really impressive, but I haven't seen enough people like building things with it and being like, look, it's actually better. I haven't seen a video from Theo about it. Maybe he's cooking, or maybe I haven't seen it, but either way, it looks really promising. But you try to use it, but it's not available yet, right?
Yeah, so I basically, if I take over right now, if I show you the OpenRouter stuff, I was like, oh shit, can we get it on OpenRouter? It's $5 in, $30 out, 37 TPS, which actually isn't that great, to be honest, but 100% uptime. Same can't be said for GitHub. Text in, image in for text out. I thought, oh, give this a go. So then I basically set it up with SWE agent, because this is where all of these benchmarks were taken from, is the mini SWE agent. Can you read that? It's quite small. Is a mini SWE agent, which is a pretty bare bones harness. I think Deep SWE, the bench from, I don't know, some lab, they're all using mini SWE agent as well. I tried to set it up, but it just wasn't letting me. Well, I say it wasn't letting me. It says there's a provider message and it says unavailable. So I'm guessing you have to be part of the secret crew, because they talk a lot on this article as well. They talk a lot about the early testers have been helping out. Where is it? I don't know, somewhere. Here we go. Deeply grateful for our early testers. Maybe we can set ourselves up for an early tester. Apply for beta test. Here we go. So, no longer accepting. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
So, what this seems to be, I mean, this is basically what their thing is that actually it's multi-agent workflow behind one single agent. Maybe even says it better than I could. A full multi-agent orchestration system as a single foundation model. So whether it's their harness, there's like something on the back end that splits up the tasks, and that's all just hidden. It's like Manus agent or something going off and doing a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, and then they still just return to you the one response. It's all happening behind the scenes. I don't know. Or whether it's just the behavior of the model. I don't know. But that's how they're able to get these crazy numbers, which I'm sorry. I don't know whether I believe that it's going to be better than Fable. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we've reported on these guys before, and I can't actually remember what we'd spoke about. But we have reported on Sakana before. But this is their new model, Fugu Ultra. And I'm not even sure when we're going to see it.
Yeah.
It's all snake oil or whatever. Don't know.
But this brings a very interesting conversation, a few questions I would like to ask. Like, so this model supposedly is better than Fable 5 in some areas. There is a question to be asked, like, will there be a model that is better than Fable 5? We can comfortably say yes, right? There will be a model better than Fable 5, right? We are pretty sure about this. We are not going to have Fable 5 as, the best model humanity has ever produced, right? Right? Okay,
Well,
so we don't know. Okay, but assuming that there will be better models than Fable 5, will we see them released? So if you are OpenAI and you have GPT not 5.6, but you have GPT 6, right? You have it ready, you tested. Do you want it to be better than Fable 5 or worse than Fable 5? That's quite funny, because if it's worse than Fable 5, you're introducing this model and you are like comparing it to Fable 5 and it's worse, and you're a US based company. So based on that, you're basically saying my model won't be available because, the same thing that happened to Fable 5. If it's better, but if it's worse, that's not really good news either. So what will happen?
yeah. So I think what you don't want to be better than Fable 5. You want your own government to tell you to remove the model because it's too good. Whether it's better or worse than Fable 5, it could be marginally worse. But if they get the same treatment, you know what I mean? Because, Fable 5 might have overshot the baseline that the government have, whatever that baseline is, could have massively overshot it. Whereas if you get a little bit over it, but still under Fable 5, then as long as you get banned by the government, that looks good on your resume.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
But that looks good. But these companies are losing a shit ton of money, and I would make the argument that like having Fable 5 was great for Anthropic, and they are right now losing money because Fable 5, I used it for design specifically, and I was mind blown. It was not an like a small increment in quality. It was genuinely good enough. Like, we have videos on it. You can watch it if you don't believe me. We have actually, I think in 2 videos, I'm showing the designs and comparing them. The designs were genuinely good enough to be used in like in actual high quality work. That good. So that was good for Anthropic. Like, I would go out and tell everybody to, like, that was my weapon of choice. I would pay for that. I would even pay more for it, right? But now I'm genuinely thinking of downgrading my Claude because, I'm not gonna burn tokens as much. So it's a very bad position for Anthropic, and now a bad position for every other company. And now this brings me to the kind of like the next question. My first question was more like for a US based company. If you are based in US, you want to be better than Fable 5, but you don't want to. It's just like a duality. But if you are in China, if you're like Japan now with coming up with a new model, you do want to be better than Fable 5. And what if your government doesn't have these restrictions? What if they allow you? So what will that mean for that model? Well, if this model ends up being genuinely better than Fable 5, I will actually start paying for it because, why not? I don't need Claude Code if this is better. So what will that mean for the US government? They should now think about, allowing Anthropic to continue. So we are getting in this thing that it's not new. Anthropic, they like started their company by like just trying to make us aware of this kind of like arms race, like the atomics arm race that we had with the nuclear bombs. Once a country has it, it's really difficult to stop others from having it. And everyone wants to race the other one to have like better and bigger and more. And I feel like we are exactly at that point with AI. I'm not saying that it's sentient or it's like, it has consciousness, whatever, it's AGI. No, not actually, far from it. But it's just such a useful tool, and at the same time it's dangerous, I guess. It can be dangerous. So what are we going to do if China comes up with DeepSeek being better than Fable 5? Will the US government release Fable?
I think they would have to, right? I think they would have to.
They can't be like, okay, you can have whatever like in the world, and we keep our companies from. They can't do this, and we
give Trump a call. Give Trump a call. Let him know about Sakana.
Yeah.
Tell him, that Sakana are beating Fable 5.
Yeah.
They might release it then.
I hope so. I hope that they are like working on a release or something. I don't know. But either way, the point being, I feel like this ban cannot be like forever. My point is, Fable 5, I feel like even though it's the best model and it's the best model we had so far and it's banned and taken away from us, I feel like it's not going to be forever, because there has to be some improvement with other models. And
maybe it's just the way it's shaped. Maybe it's just, again, more guardrails around the cybersecurity stuff, Yeah.
But what if all governments come together and decide, fuck this, we're not going to let any model be smarter than 4.8? That's not going to happen.
Well, I will chat about something in a bit which gave me so much dread. But I think you're away, but we did cover an article that Anthropic released a little while ago. I say a little while ago, like 2 weeks ago, where they said if the rest of the world would be up for it, we should all stop. Like,
but how do you actually check? I mean, there are ways to do this with atomic energy and atomic bombs. Like, it's really difficult to build a bomb without testing it. You have to test it, right? And if you tested it, it's quite clear that, okay, there has been an atomic bomb test. So you cannot hide building a bomb. And you have to make multiple tests in order to signal to everyone that you have built it. You have built multiple. You know how to make it. Just leave me alone, basically. That's the idea behind how countries approach this. But with AI, how do you put like regulations on, not like you could have data centers crunching numbers and nobody can know theoretically, or there has to be really tight restrictions on and checks on what are you actually doing with that data center. Are you training
that data center is using a lot of energy there? What do you do?
But like
nothing.
I'm just making cat videos.
Toast.
I'm generating cat videos with it.
Yeah, we just stuff, cat videos. But that's the idea that Anthropic posit is like, how do we mandate this? And they use the nuclear thing as a thing. So I watched an interview with it's part of Theo's minions of people. Guy called Ben Davis and a guy called 0x0, and they're talking about local AI and just local AI. And 0x0 said something like, if AI went away tomorrow, like, I couldn't function, or I wouldn't know what to do. Like, whether he's lost all the ability or never had it to begin with, he wouldn't know. It would take him 2 months. He said it would take him 2 months to get spun back up and writing code again. I mean, like, how? I mean, I know I'm not saying that it wouldn't take me a moment to get spun up and writing actual code again, but how brain rotted do you need to be to say that it would take you think 2 months to get back into coding? That's bizarre. Like, that's like saying it would take you 2 months to figure out how to use Figma again, because you've used the MCP so much.
I'm using Webflow and Figma almost exclusively now through the MCP.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I
So
don't
imagine,
feel like I'm not losing the ability.
It's like, how, what is he like? What is this person? He lost a lot of respect when he said that to me, to be honest, when he was like, it would take me 2 months to get back into it. I'm like, it's not that bad, is it? Like, anyway.
I mean, I might forget like how, okay, taking me a second how I would use something, or like, yeah, you will forget something for like 2 months to get back. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to quantify it. But on the other hand, like, because I've been coding with AI so much, I also have learned other things. So it's not that I'm, learning nothing and just unlearning what I already knew. We learn something, we forget about something.
When are you learning something new? When do you feel like you're learning something new with regards to design? Not to do with code, because that's picked up because of AI, right? You might have gotten into it, but specifically with design, like, because as a developer, I'm continuously learning. There's always something new to learn. But with design,
you have some basics, yeah. I think with design, it's more about you say like you want to kind of like play into your creative mind and like train it by doing creative stuff, doing challenges. So that can be transformation of something. So that can be inspiration. So I think with not just design, but creative work in general, it has to do a lot with just practicing it constantly, like challenging yourself to come up with new paradigm shifts in a way. Like, how would you think about something in a new way? And I think in a way, AI actually helps me with that, because what I use AI for a lot is to do Crazy 8. It's one of many design approaches that you can have. Crazy 8 is when you have an idea, but not just one. There is something to be done, and you do like very quickly 8 different versions, and it's called Crazy 8. But with AI, you could do 20. You make 20 different versions, and you try to make them all different from one another. And as a human, you can actually observe it and try to, after it's done, try to mix things or try to pick the best out of each and then create something new, even more new based on it. So that's to me is a way of practicing. But I would be interested to know like what our audience think, because that's how I do it.
So, and again, I still use AI to learn things, but I don't just vibe out stuff. Like, I would still say that probably between 50 and 30%, I am of the code base that I'm writing. I wouldn't have been able to write before AI, right? But I'm also thinking about it from an architectural standpoint. Like, what is going on here? What have we done? What are the different components and how are they broken down? How do they play against each other? And so whenever I spin up a new project and it's gone to, I'm starting to lose a focus here, such as, what would be a good example? Like two-factor authentication. I implemented a two-factor authentication flow, and I just didn't understand the back and forward between because with a lot of these platforms like WorkOS or Clerk or whatever, you can either stick in a bit of JavaScript or stick in the component and everything's taken care of. But then you lose a lot of the custom UI. You lose a lot of your custom fields. You can change basic colors and themes and stuff, but you lose that really bespoke field, that looks part of the rest of your site. So when you build it bespoke, then you have to re-implement a lot of the stuff they make super easy. So yeah, I used AI to really interrogate, like, what is going on here? How is this? What is the flow? And I'll do that a lot. I've been doing some, I'll be releasing a product soon, nothing to do with, no one's going to it's not for anyone here, for my clients about like document scanning and things like this, and I was heavily into OCR today, and you know, I literally have just probably why my fans were still going for ages during the beginning of the show, because I've just been looking at local AI, how testing different local AI models, how good are they at image recognition or whatever. Anyway, all of that was just a whole new learning for me. So anyway, I'm learning a lot, but still I love it.
I have a confession to make there. So I feel like I'm also so I am definitely learning new things. My issue with it is like how deep it is. I don't feel like it's as deep, but I think it has to do with time. Like when I started doing Webflow 2019, I know that I was doing things without actually knowing what it was happening. But now, like I didn't know even basic HTML tags, but now I have a good understanding of like, you know, what HTML, CSS, JavaScript does, and like, you know, the structure of things and the stuff, the necessary stuff. Okay. So I understand these things. I can read code on that level. But
yeah,
with AI, I made an app, a Mac app, to do some local processing as well. So like for voice, if I have a voice message, I can just drop it in my app, and it processes the voice and transcribes it all locally. So when I built that app, I was learning about, okay, what model can I use and how does it do it? Can I do translation? Yes, I could do like German to English translation with the Whisper model, but can I do also summarize? No, you can't do summarize. But like, why? Well, because the model can transcribe and translate while or after the transcription, but it's not a text to text model, so it cannot summarize. So there were like interesting things to like quirks and like top level things to learn. But what I'm missing is like, okay, what does that actually mean? Like how does that actually work? What is the actual like very deep low level tech behind each one of these stages and things? And this is what I feel like is missing. So my confession is I don't want to be learning just surface level stuff. And I feel like with AI, sometimes I am learning surface level stuff, but I do also try to, add a paper and start to read a paper. When I say add a paper, I mean open a paper and then I have Claude on one side and then I go through it. Even though it's hard, I have somebody next to me who can help me understand. So
somebody
like, Fable 5,
a loved one
favorite. A loved one.
Yeah. So let me show you this. It's a slight tangent, but it's somewhat relevant. So there's this thing called Ponytail. Why isn't that zoomed in for you?
Can you zoom? Yes, please. Yes.
And it is so he says nothing, he waits for online, it works, right? It's apparently a skill. It's a skill that writes 54% less code. It's 20% cheaper because it's writing less code, and it's faster because it's writing less code, right?
Interesting.
And have you ever heard of the caveman skill?
No.
So the caveman skill, how does a caveman do an impression of a caveman? Say, can I have a glass of water, please? In caveman.
Water.
Water, please, or give me water, right? So
no,
much
please,
of
just water. Yeah.
Give me water. Well, okay, there you go, right? So gone from can I have a glass of water, please, to just water, right? There's so much less in the thing. So if you give it the caveman skill, your AI is going to use less tokens and speak like a caveman. Similarly, is this skill which it challenges itself to write as little possible, 20% less code, 20% cheaper because it's writing less code, and it's faster because it's writing less code, right? So gone from can I have a glass of water, please, to just water, right? There's so much less in the thing. So if you give it the caveman skill, your AI is going to use less tokens and speak like a caveman. Similarly, is this skill which it challenges itself to write as little possible, and it it confers, is that the right word? But it talks with itself and really questions, as part of its thinking, whether this is the simplest solution possible.
Yeah.
And according to their benchmarks, it works. Does this? So it asks itself questions. Does this need to actually exist? No, skip it. Is it already in the code base? It's basically trying to be as lazy as possible.
I like that
so
second.
Actually,
I wanted
to code.
I wanted to literally ask for that number 2, because a lot of the code written is duplicated code by AI.
Exactly.
I learned that it's sometimes too lazy to actually look at the database to see the pattern. Or misses the pattern and just rewrites the same thing, and that's really bad. So I like that.
Yeah. Is standard library does it, then use that. If a native platform feature uses it, use that. If it's an already installed dependency, because here's the thing, toasters are another. Do you know what a toaster is? The little pop-up things. Yeah. Sometimes it will use shadcn, sometimes it will bring another one in. Like, it will just you start using new tools. So it really questions, is it an already have we already got something installed that can use it? Is it one line? Then you can do it in one line. So it's just trying to be lazy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
It's cool, isn't it? I've forgotten how this all ties in together, but I guess it's just, what were we talking about before we got into writing less code or learning, I guess?
Yeah, we were talking about learning.
I guess
I was talking about like learning like the very basics, and maybe that got you interested in talking about that. I see that. I'm going to actually install that skill and use it because I find it very useful. I made my own skill a few days ago for the project that we are doing, because I'm running so many agents at the same time to do asset generation and like the MCP and stuff, and I'm constantly switching because it takes time to make a video, right? So I'm doing a lot of parallel shit, and I notice that I'm forgetting like which chat was from which what subject I was working on. I do use /rename. I don't know, do you use it?
Rename very rarely, because I'm just
I really like it because it's like a big like banner, so it doesn't take space, but you just see the name of that chat. So if you have multiple instances, it's very easy to see what the chat is about. I love rename, but I also made a skill called recap. When I do /recap in a caveman style, it tells me what this entire chat started with, what got done, and what is next to do. So these 3 things. And
tell you what I did today, yesterday or today. I think this could be a pretty good workflow. And you talk about having someone next to you so you can read, and you've got someone next to you to help you. In the same way, I spin up an agent, I spin up Claude, and then it is the master. It is the project manager that I'm discussing with. And it is encouraged to spin up sub-agents for every piece of work that it does. So him and I, or her and I, if I'm feeling fruity, her and I are talking through problems, and then when we come to a solution, spin up a sub-agent and do it. So then it has all the context of what we're talking about, and then can do that. And then I can continue on a conversation with it, because a sub-agent's working away. We can then discuss more problems, or more either related or unrelated. And I like this workflow. I just don't think I've really put it to the test, because I also project manage myself with Claude, and I'll keep a thread open all week, and we'll constantly talk to about what I've done, what I need to do, and all the rest of it. And it's just nice having one person you're conversing with that has a history, and then other people are doing the job. So I just came up with this idea to just encourage it to always spin up sub agents, and it just spins up little agents to do the work that we're talking with, without then again losing that context of the conversation.
So what you are saying is quite a lot. It's related to the, not the next thing, but the last thing that we wanted to talk about, Claude Tag. Should we talk about
kind
that?
of
It
yeah,
is,
we can move on to Claude Tag.
So let's just do Claude Tag. So what you described is basically having conversations contained. Some of them are very general and some of them are very specific. But you're like separating these different contexts. So what Claude Tag is Claude inside of your Slack channels. And I really like that idea, because the way we have these different channels are based on different people and different context, and we are already separating these in our head. So it does feel natural to have that in Claude. I have this in Telegram with Telegram groups, and in Telegram groups you can have topics, and yeah, I really like this idea, Claude Tag. Unfortunately, it's only for Teams though, but I kind of want that also now in my Discord. So this
is what Kapathy said, right? This is a new paradigm for interacting with Claude that is significantly more in line with all other human activity org-wide. Once you do all of the under-the-hood engineering work to make this just work, across tools, integrations, compute environments, memory, so there's a lot of setup by the sound of things, Claude basically joins the team in a seamless way. You can talk to it as you would talk to any person, and it can help with a very large variety of workloads. In my opinion, this is the third major redesign of the LLM UI UX. The first paradigm was the LLM is a website you go to, ChatGPT. The second was that it is an app you download to your computer, Claude Cowork. This third one is that it's a self-contained, persistent, asynchronous entity with org-wide controls and context, working alongside teams of humans. It really takes a while to wrap your head around it, but it works and it's awesome. And this is it basically in action. She opens up Slack and you're going to tag Claude and it gets to work on something. Then Nadia jumps in and changes her mind. Updates it. Now Drew jumps in actually, and then Claude's there just working. So you're not actually prompting it. Well, you're prompting it to get started on something. Well, actually, you're not. We'll get into that. But like,
what if?
It's constantly watching a conversation and then changing its output in real time without you having to actually say or do anything. They tagged it to get it to do a piece of work. It was a report or something like that you saw. However, once you've got it set up in your organization, it is always watching, it is always listening, and it's always learning. So it's not like you tag it and then all of a sudden it's got to work. No. It's already working. It's already noticed the conversation. It's just waiting for you to tag it to say, just get to work on it. So in theory, you could just say, Claude, get to work after a long conversation, or whether it's a channel, whether it's a thread or what. So it is, as Kapathy says, this omnipresent integrated team member that's ready to get to work. And I said this to my friend the other day, this is using a scary amount of compute and tokens just for that convenience of constantly watching.
Yeah,
it's just burning all the time.
I was thinking also the conversation can get really long, and it does sound like a natural place for AI to be,
really,
for agents, like, can you grab me that specific information, and it knows it.
This is the thing, right? With what you've just said, Claude, Slack app, chatbot has always been involved, and this is where when I first saw it, I wasn't too excited about it, but then I learned a bit more and thought about it a bit more. You've always been able to bring Claude into a chat and ask it to go and do something for you. Okay, that this is an evolution on that, in that it is constantly learning and watching the whole time. Like I say, it doesn't need to be prompted to be listening to the conversations. It's literally just it's someone just watching, and like an autistic colleague constantly staring at chat, learning, understanding, and then it's waiting to be asked to do something. It's like, and it's there, it's ready for you, and it already knows everything, so it's getting to work. The chatbot that already exists was still able to do a lot of these things. It was still able to action a lot of these things, but it's that learning element and that's omnipresent element that you don't even think it's there. You don't even know it's there. That's where the shift is here.
Yeah.
And I do think, and I agree with you, I do think it's like the complete natural place. I recently got into tagging Claude and creating GitHub issues and tagging Claude in it. I was like, this feels natural. This feels like the way that Claude needs to be, is like you just tag it like you're another workplace.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's I think it's a bigger deal than a lot of people are probably maybe realizing it. And it's, I don't know, it's one of those things where I think ChatGPT are thinking, we should have thought of that.
Yeah. Claude has been really, like, Anthropic has been really creative with, with UI and UX and doing.
I think it's because
like,
they're not
on a broad
distracted.
level.
Yeah, I think it's because they're not distracted. I think OpenAI are distracted by video slop,
Sora,
and Sora. They're not. Yeah, I don't know, but they do have a good model. They do. Like, you can't take that away. GPT and Claude are really there as the best models on the planet right now. Like, sorry, my knee. I'm just putting my legs up on my thing there because I'm getting all sweaty. Yeah. So sorry we can't demo it, but it is interesting and it is natural. Sorry. Anything else to say on tag?
No, that's pretty much it. I have something that I want to share my screen, and I have a feature from, what's it called, from Warp, that I cannot turn off, and it's bothering. Anyway, it's gone now. I don't know. It comes up and goes, and it's kind of like random. It literally went away.
A bug?
No, it's like a UI overlay that I cannot turn off. I couldn't find where to turn it off from Warp. And when it's there, I cannot put it away, and it doesn't let me click on other stuff. But right now it just went away again. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna like prepare stuff here. I have quite a lot to look at and to do. I need a second to grab everything here. So,
do we have anyone in the audience who is actually using tag? Because right now it's out of our capabilities. Whether it is this paradigm shift that people are saying. Because here's the other thing. When it comes to pricing, organizations aren't allowed to use Claude Max subscriptions. This is all API pricing. And if it's constantly listening, I wonder if it's just chewing through API usage credits, or whether they are given as you only pay for when you actually invoke Claude, sort of thing. Be interested to know.
okay, so I'm almost ready. I will also bring this to my screen just in case. Okay, you see me preparing for this, and All right, so Figma just dropped the 2026 config keynote, and they came with a lot of like really new and exciting features and updates. Some of them are in beta, some of them are not available yet, but the ones that are available, I have tried them and I'm going to show you. But there are a few coding related ones that I want to show you, Sam, or like talk to you about. It's going to be interesting. I'm not going just to list everything because I'm pretty sure you've seen the config or at least parts of it. But just let's start with one of the new things in Figma. Well, let's start with the UI. You see the UI is a bit different, but that they released it even prior to the config. We have files, agents, and now assets and tools, variables here. Some of it I really don't like, but what's really cool are agents and what you can do with them. For example, here we have these designs. Did you hear something, by the way? I don't know. I don't want to. I can't.
I heard a clatter.
Okay. Okay, I hope that's fine. Anyway, so what we have here is a design we did for a client, and now I went back in. This is from 2 years ago, and I wanted to see like what could I do today if I were using these new Figma tools. So you see this design here. We had just an SVG background here. Now you can do things like this with Figma shaders. So I just duplicated this, brought it here, and I asked the Figma agent to create me a shader. The way you can do this is going to tools, for example, and here you can create a shader effect or a shader fill. We will talk about this. I made this shader, and the way you access it is from the fill panel. You come here, and that's another one. So here, that's another one. So multiple layers having multiple shaders. I have this twist wave, and as you can see, I can just interact with it. And all of these were just vibe coded. I just asked the agent to add these properties, and it did. So I can create my own whatever, like shader and look. And what's really, really awesome about this is, Sam, we're building this project together. You made a shader tool, but that tool exists on a different tech stack. It's somewhere else, and the client has to access it from somewhere else. What Figma has done is now you can actually pull in your shader from GitHub to Figma, and then the shader exists here as a Figma tool. So it's all in one place. This is just one example. I made a few more just to show you. I'll just go quickly through it. For example, here is another shader. This wave, originally it was just like static SVGs, but now it's kind of like interactive in a way that I can design my own. I can play with it. I can change it. That's really, really awesome. I made another few, but they didn't turn really well. So the one above is our original design, and we did actually have this as we found it on GitHub 2 years ago. We use this for this project, and now I thought, like, can Figma actually recreate this? And not really. I used shader effect and shader fill, and both of them they tried, but it's just not it exactly. Maybe a few more prompts.
What do your prompts look like? You keep saying we prompted this. I'd love to know, and you prompted it to give it those inputs there. What is your prompt? How are you getting all this?
I can show you. For example, here, I can go to the chat, and it was very simple. Based on this liquid blob, I wanted to be able to change the colors, noise, speed, range, etc. So it sees my frame, it gets my frame, and I'm like, create a shader based on this, and I want to have these properties to change, and it just gives me a list and then I can apply it. It's quite
So you
simple.
always provide it an image for it to reference.
Something.
Or a frame,
No,
sorry.
you could start from scratch. You can literally create, you can go to tools and create a shader fill and just start from scratch. And then it becomes a tool. What tool? Actually good that you ask that, because now if I go to my fill, I don't know how much you know Figma, we have this fill option. I can add white fill, I can add layers, and here if I go to the different types of fill, I have like color, I have gradient, I have pattern, image, etc. Now I have shader. It's just a different type. And now in these shaders, I have some of the ones that Figma has built by default. So these are the Figma defaults, and these are the ones that I made. Like I can add this wavy one to this design. It's just a fill type that I create as a shader. I find it to be a very smart way of doing this, but I'm not sure how useful this is for the final production, and we will get into this. Figma released so many new features, and I'm not sure how they are how useful they are in the final production, because this shader, okay, cool, we have it in the design. How am I going to transform it into what I need in a website? So I have to recreate this.
They haven't got Figma sites.
Well, they do, but what if I don't want to use Figma sites? I'm not sure, but I suppose they have plans for this, because maybe with the MCP, maybe I can read maybe I can push the shader code to GitHub or something like this. Because it is code, so Figma should expose it somewhere. I don't know. I have no idea where I can because the shader.
Or just select the frame. Select the frame. Command L and go to Claude and say, create this shader, and then push it to GitHub or something. It will do it, and it would obviously whinge and say, do this. It will tell you how to create a GitHub repo, but it will do all the work and get to that point.
So basically what you are saying is the code for this shader is exposed through the API. If that is going to work.
I can't tell you that, but that's why I said try it and see.
Yeah. So you are saying if it succeeds, it means it's there. I guess that's going to take time. Let's go through the list of things that we have. But yeah, maybe I will actually try to see if
we'll set it off now, and then we get back to it.
Okay. Actually, just Command L. Let's open Warp, and I'm going to use. Just give me a second. I don't want to destroy my other.
It doesn't need a project. Well, I suppose just open up a new window and cd into documents or something.
So the prompt would be, I guess, create this, or create this as a website, or as an HTML file.
Well, you said you wanted the shader in GitHub, so you could say extract the shader we have and push it to GitHub.
No, I just want to remake this with this shader.
Oh, okay, just say, remake this HTML page, including the shader. And for all those wondering, you've obviously got Claude Code open right now, and it has the Figma MCP installed. Yeah. And this means you can just paste in a link to a node or a frame, and it will then go and get that and use that or do something with that. And you can say add a design, or you can say pull a design. So it's a two-way thing.
Yeah. Create this as an HTML file with this exact shader. Don't make a new shader. Use the one from this Figma file. Yeah.
Just make a static HTML file.
Yeah. Let's see if it can make it. You see this coming up.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I don't know how I can get rid of it.
I don't even know what it is. Is it warp thing? Is it?
Yeah, it is warp. So when warp
Never
is
seen it.
crunching, it comes up, and I couldn't find it in the UI. I asked an agent, like the warp agent, where to do this, and the warp agent was like, I have no idea. Or maybe it's
Wow.
not warp, actually. Maybe it's not
I don't
warp.
think-
Maybe it's this.
Is it clicky? It looks like clicky to me.
No, it was something
What-
else. Okay, my bad.
Oh, okay.
It was the token. Actually, I'm going to show you. It's the token eater app. So it was looking at the tokens that I'm consuming, and it was showing like what instance of my warp is consuming how many tokens. That's quite nice, but it was like on the way. So I will find a way to turn it off here. Is it this pop over? No. Menu bar. No. Anyway, I don't think I can find. It's this watcher.
But it's linked to warp, so every time you spin up an agent, it'll give you a little thing to manage them.
Yeah. It's interesting. I will look into it, and I'm sure it will be like a fun thing to have there, to see the forest that you burn. Okay. So
well, at least now you know what it is.
Yeah, now I know what it is. All right. So back to Figma. We have now shaders all through agents, so you can create your own shaders. But you can actually also, in tools, you can create your own plugin. That is also very interesting. So a plugin, it's like a tool for your own specific need. These are like incredibly useful for like doing static design, especially like if you want to do some image treatment or like a background effect or something like this. But we will see if we can actually extract those. Because if they are just static, I'm not sure how useful they are. Speaking of static, not everything is going to be static in Figma, because now we have Figma Motion, probably like the biggest update. You see how we have like these tool set here. We had Figma Design, and now we have Figma Motion. We click it, and we have now these beautiful, beautiful layers. And just by pressing space and animation, you see it's happening. And all of this was pretty much one-shotted by just an agent. So if you want, you can go in, you can go nuts, you can create these like animations, and you can play around with the animation. But if you don't want to play around with the animation, you can actually just ask an agent to do it for you. So here I have different designs. I can click on this frame, and you see how intuitive it is. I love this, by the way. Like, where is my animation? Like, I just click on the frame, and you see also this icon. This frame has an animation. It has like Figma Motion, and this one doesn't have it. But if I click it, the timeline is empty. I can start making stuff, or ask an agent. Can be like, the frame is already in, animate this.
So this is the same as Framer, and that this agent is omnipresent throughout the whole file, right?
So the idea is Framer got agents, Figma got agents, Webflow got no agents yet. We don't know if they will. Like, I really love this approach and this idea. By the way, fun fact, they didn't talk about AI much in the whole presentation was in a way kind of like AI related. because their agents are everywhere. Agents are doing everything. Everything is vibe coding, vibe design next to you, like everything. But they were not saying like AI. They were just saying your agent does this alongside with you. You can do this. You can do that. And they were all like saying you can do that, but it's actually the agent that is writing the code. It's the agent that is doing like the screen capture. We'll get into it. Like the agent is doing a good chunk of the work, but I mean, I'm not complaining. I genuinely think this is like the way to go with AI, where you have the agents as the kind of like a primary UI in a way to like to interact with the tool, but you also have this like all of these manual controls as well. So I love that approach, and I want to see that with Webflow, to have a canvas and agents to do everything, because now code is design is code. We'll get into this, and as this is happening, I will tell you a little bit about this. So the next let me actually find the place. So here in the presentation, they started to talk about code in a very interesting way. So Figma sees code as a subset of design. They see it as what they call a material. So when you design something, you might design with a pen and draw something, but you might also want to code something. That's how they interpret it, and that's how they want to see it. Now you see this on the screen. These are not out yet, but these are code layers. So a code layer is just like a frame. You know how in Figma you can press F and make a frame. Soon you will be able to create a code layer. And what's really cool about that code layer, it's live. It's running in the canvas. You can pull it literally from your GitHub, and you can do very interesting stuff with it. For example, you see your code and you can ask an agent to show you all the different screen and different states from that code component, and it just puts it on the screen. So you see all the different states. Things like this are very, very interesting, and I think also very useful. Looking to see if this is done. Yeah, so this is done, and I didn't specify anything, but that's the animation we got. It's okay.
Some
Things are
follow-up work
moving.
might be necessary. Things are moving, yeah. Optimism.
Things are moving, but that's the idea, that this is the agent doing stuff, and you can continue talking to the agent, or you can get your hands in the motion and do stuff. So yeah, going back to the code component stuff, I find them very interesting. You can kind of like vibe code alongside with teammates. What's a very strong point of Figma? The multiplayer aspect of it. Like we can go in, you can start vibe coding something. I can see your prompt and I can continue, or I just literally take whatever you're working on it and then I duplicate it. And that's a whole new, I guess it's a work tree, or a copy of like the whole work. Either way, as you see now, you can also extract the design layers and you can work alongside with your teammates. So I'm very excited to work on this, to work with this, but I'm not sure how I will put it in my work process. Because if I can do it with Claude, like what I like about Figma is the canvas. So maybe if I'm creating a website, maybe I can use this feature to make like multiple versions and make it work and all of that, and then export it later, but also have the ability to manually tweak stuff. So maybe that's where this is really useful. It all sounds very exciting, very interesting, also technically and from a geeky perspective, but I'm not sure how it will fit this very new work process that we have. I mean, this project that we are doing together, we did a lot of it in Figma, but there are some parts of it that are done just in code, right? So I don't know how useful Figma will be there. Anyway, the next thing they announced, I want to go through it very fast, was Weave. Is that how you pronounce it? It's a node-based Weave, a node-based image and video generation tool. So you basically have these nodes. You have some of these are inputs as an image. The other one is another image input as a style reference, and another one might be a prompt. You connect these, and then you get an output. Interesting that Figma is starting to bring this node-based system into the canvas, and I like the idea. I want to give it a try, but one thing that I'm not sure about is like, how much is this gonna cost? How am I going to use this just because it's inside of Figma, or am I going to use another provider? I guess under the hood, the API is, the Google API and the OpenAI API and all others. But yeah, it would be interesting to see how they are managing this. I'm also doing a lot of like parallel stuff right now. I don't know how that would work here. I'm constantly buying new credits for Higgs fields. I don't know how that will be here, but either way, these are very exciting things. So here they show how like even an animation with a reference, they are like, transforming the style of it. Very interesting. So we've seen these things before. Now the point is that they all exist in the same place that you work alongside with your colleagues, and that's I think the strong sell, that it's all in one place, it's all in a canvas, and you can control it from there. I'm very shocked they didn't go like super hard on websites like Figma sites, and they mentioned it here and there, but I was kind of like thinking that they will have like a full-on system that will replace Framer and even potentially Webflow. But they have like many technically very interesting stuff, but not websites.
Well, it's the websites is the thing that brings a lot of this together. I mean, Framer is also is for graphic design and for video now, right? But websites bring, especially with the code components, bring all of this together. So it seemed like that would be the cherry on the top. Whereas they're basically saying, build it all in us and then pull it all out and then put it into your website that's hosted and built elsewhere. So it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind that, at the end of the day, like Framer Sites was a shit show when it launched. It was awful, and they haven't really done anything with it, and it just goes to show that they tried something and it failed. But yeah, I was going to ask as well, and that's kind of answered the question, like, when Framer got released and when we spoke about V0 last week and you want this canvas and whatever, it's like, well, what is missing? I was going to ask you, what is missing from Figma right now, where you just can't, where you can live in Figma? Why is this not an all-in-one tool right now for you?
Yeah, so because like with code layers, I feel like they added it as not to the full potential of code, because they are putting code being a subset of design. I get the idea. But like any design that you make, like digital design, like for web, it will end up as code. And I don't see why they added code as it feels like a widget. It doesn't feel like the way Framer done it. So the way it is, like with Figma, the code layers are a small frame, a window that you can interact with. But in Framer, you have your design canvas. You do stuff on the canvas. You get it messy. I mean, look at this canvas. This is quite messy, right? Because we were working here. We were like actually experimenting here. They're experimenting literally different directions. And then once you have a winner direction, I want to be able to go like full on and create something that is production level with it, and that is what's missing with Figma. It still feels like Webflow has this production side of things. Framer has this like early ideation and generation side of things. So in my ideal world, I would have design in Webflow. The reason for that is Webflow code is like the Webflow styling panel is the closest to pure code out of all of these no code tools, right? It's the closest. So what if
Figma was able to do that though? That's the thing. I guess would that solve your problem if Figma was able to do that?
Yes. In a way, I would like for Webflow to add a canvas for experimentation. So that's kind of like a bit different because Figma has like animations and has like these shaders, and so much of it is to me not production ready. But I feel like because Webflow got the production ready side of things and the data layer, the CMS side of things, what if they had also a canvas like Framer where I could do experimentation, do the design right there? Because here's my point. And this is what I'm seeing as a shift, like literally my day-to-day is changing because clients are not bringing me the final design in Figma. They are bringing me the final design made with Claude. So why not do that in a canvas inside of Webflow? All that experimentation, do it in a design canvas. And once you've done the brand exploration and then the different variations, you pick the winners and you put them as, final winners in the page. That's kind of like the workflow that I wish for. And, imagine doing all of this through the MCP. You just tell Claude to build that. You have an infinite canvas. And I'm doing that in Figma. I'm literally doing that in Figma, but I'm doing a lot of translation. I'm bringing the design, like Claude is creating these layers inside of Figma. It's not literally like HTML. I guess it's like doing a translation, right? And then I have to do another translation back. What if it was no translation? It was production ready code, but on a canvas. So why on a canvas? Because on a canvas, you can do this like team member exploration much better. This is where you want to physically be able to, how Apple builds phones, they design it, they produce it, and then designers literally put it in their hands and they compare them. This is the same with what we are doing with the Figma canvas and Framer as well. You can compare these different designs and see how they feel. And now imagine if they are production level, production ready code where you can not just compare the looks, but also click them, go through the different UX. We do this already with Claude, but it's the only difference is it's not on a canvas. So I just want to have a canvas to do all of that in. You're muted.
So all that to be said, you just want a canvas.
I just want a canvas.
It's so interesting because let's say for example, Webflow get a canvas. It's so interesting that would be preferable to you than everything Figma has right now. If Figma nailed the sites so that you could, you can create a site with everything you've done in Figma, plus the animation, plus the code and all the rest of it, all of this stuff they've just launched, you'd prefer Webflow just to add a canvas.
I feel like I'm saying this, and I know I'm, a Webflow fan. We're not hiding that. I feel like a lot of what I have here are scattered, and the whole thing is just getting into design and doing design, but it's not very close to the final thing that a client wants, which is a website that is, production level ready, and it has all the bells and whistles that a website needs, such as.
But that's what I'm saying. That's
a
what I'm
CMS.
saying. Let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
for example, they get Figma sites done. You'd still prefer Webflow to get a canvas rather than Figma. You're not saying Figma, can you just get Figma sites sorted? You're saying Webflow, can you please just have a canvas? That's if you could choose one of those things, you're saying Webflow, can I please have a canvas?
I feel like because Webflow has, yes, the answer is yes, because Webflow has the GSAP timeline thing. If they can do what Figma has done here, would be amazing. Like control the GSAP thing.
I was thinking, I wonder, again, another experiment. We should check on your Claude, by the way. If you were to use the MCP to bring down this animated frame and tell it to build a website, what is the animation engine that it uses to create the animation? Maybe it is GSAP. Don't know.
I'm going to link that. I have a link, and then I'm going to Warp. Let's see what Warp did. What Claude did in Warp.
So what does it say, and how do we get this up and running? Created. So if you hit exclamation mark inside of Warp, exclamation point, and then say open, and then at. Say open, no, not at, sorry. Just wave6labs.html, just the name of the file. They should just open it up in your browser.
For this, I literally tell Claude to open it, and it does.
Well, now you're learning to do it yourself. Now you're learning to save your tokens. So is this now? So this one was checking to see whether it was the shader, whether it's brought in the shader, and so we should be looking for like a canvas. So it's there it is.
Yeah, there's a, but I don't like. Okay, let's actually ask. How did you make the shader? Do you have access to the Figma shader, like shader code?
I would just say how did you create the shader? But if you create another one and link it to the animated version and tell it to create that in a HTML file.
Yes, I didn't write the shader. I pulled the actual source from Figma file through the Figma MCP server. Here's the exact.
So what if you can access the raw shader code from inside Figma, essentially copying and pasting?
Using the Figma API, had a shader paint with ID of this, plus this property. Okay, yeah.
So it's an actual shader.
Yeah, that's really good. So what's okay? So it's really good that we get access to this, but it's still like we make something in Figma and then we translate it, or like we move it somewhere else. We don't translate it, but we
I think
that's cool.
If they can get Figma sites sorted, then you wouldn't need to worry about this. But yeah, I'm curious to know how it's going to make these animations.
Just let's ask. So do you see this animation? I want to see if it. Let me look at that node and its motion animation data. Let's see if it has access.
Because when I saw this Figma stuff get released, I thought this was a dream come true to you. But really, it's the lack of Figma sites that makes it unappealing, because it's like
look at this. Yes, I can see it. The Figma MCP exposes full key. This re-rendering. Yes, I can see it. The Figma MCP exposes full keyframe motion data, and Node has a timeline animation attached. Here's what I see. So it sees the nav animation and the phase and the y plus 30 plus 32. It seems that that's
So
really good.
ask it, how would you create this in HTML? Or how would you recreate this animation?
That's using the, okay, it says using the exact CSS keyframes. Do you want me to
So it's all
recreate
CSS. It? So it's never going to be...
No, it's saying, no. It's saying I want it to be. So it's like, do you want me to recreate it using CSS? So it's not necessarily CSS.
So you can do the translation. You could translate this to GSAP, to be honest. You could just say, can you recreate it in GSAP, right? But yeah, so I guess it's just seeing keyframe data, and it's up to you how you interpret that keyframe data. So it's not going to force you to use CSS, which makes me think animations might be, I don't know, these were staggered, right? The animation was staggered.
Yeah, but like the way I see it, none of this matters in a way. Okay, I see your point, by the way. Okay, so
what?
Okay, so if you want to like do something in Figma, animate something in Figma, and then bring it to wherever you want, what tech Figma used doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant as long as they surface the data through the API. You see like what's happening, the agent can understand, okay, things are moving, but how did they get it moving doesn't matter. It's just that things are moving from this time until this time, from here to here, position, time, property, done. Like the agent can recreate this in Framer Motion or in GSAP, right? It doesn't matter. But if you want to use the Figma technologies itself, like continue using, like, for example, Figma sites, and to host the animation and the whole website, that's where it gets more interesting. What tech are they using? Is it like actually performative? Is it like going to work on all browsers and things like this, right?
Wow,
Other than this, it's just API.
Which, but by the way, I wasn't trying to make any specific point. But to answer your question, like I mean, you know, you'd assume this is what we trust. This is the trust that we hand Webflow, or the trust that we hand Figma or Framer, sorry, is that they've done this research, and the libraries and animation libraries they are using are accessible. As an example, the original animation library that Webflow are using got outdated very, very quickly. They were using a very outdated animation library for a long time, and I think loads of really cool animation libraries came out. So it was good that they bought GSAP. But again, you just got to trust that these platforms use the technologies, and they've thought about all this, which is why it's not a walk in the park, which is why when Framer brought out Figma sites, when Figma brought out Figma sites, it was a bit of a disaster because they had not thought about accessibility. They launched a half-baked product, and that's why it was a shame to me that Figma sites were so rubbish, because they thought they could just use it. So I don't care what technology they use. Again, I trust that they're gonna use the right ones, and that's what you bank on with these no-code tools. You bank on them choosing and thinking about all this sort of stuff. Doesn't mean to say that I would use it, because I'm not a designer. I'm just not. I'm not going to sit in Framer.
But here's the question: like, what is the point of like this? I feel like, okay, how would I actually use this? Or like, would I, if I'm asking an agent to create the animation, why the fuck would I use Figma? Maybe, like, here's a process that could happen. Maybe like imagine for the project we're working on, you make the animation using whatever tech that you are using, and I don't like it. That, for example, you make the navigation animate, and I don't like it. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm done with like prompting it to fix it. I'll just push it to whatever, and you pull it in Figma. I guess I can do it with the agent, and then I make the animation with an agent, and maybe potentially also I go manually change stuff, and then I get it to my liking, and then give it back to you. And I'm like, okay, here's the exact properties that I like. Maybe. Or I animate, like you can also use these for videos, but that's a different use case.
I have a feeling, I have a hunch that there's something that's not clicking for you. And I can't quite figure out what it, like, to me, like, I'm trying to work it out, because what you're saying is really interesting, the way that you're saying it. Because, like, if you're a designer, let's take the project that we're on as an example, right? As a designer, you've had to communicate with your words how you want something designed, right?
I wanted like the animation to be whoosh.
Yeah, and sounds even, you know, sights and sounds you communicate. Well, there's two things here. One, the designer now has more control as a visual thing, because traditionally it would be communicating with sounds and words on how you want things to animate in. We do this, and then we do that, and then we do this, or you create a storyboard. As a communication tool, this is amazing, right? Because you can just do it and you can show it to me and I can then recreate it. With or without AI, as a benefit, I can use AI to do it. That's really good. And you can use AI to do it. But, and I'll say this, on the website project we're on, it was actually, I was able to really easily communicate. The animations didn't take all that long at all. Like, it's really good at understanding what I want. That could be the language and the way that because I used to do a lot of animation, believe it or not, on video and stuff like that.
Both of us were communicating,
However, the beauty of Figma, which is again why I thought it was a dream come true for you, is that, and I'm always surprised when you say that AI is a good designer, because I thought you would fall into the bucket of that you would want a very, very specific thing that AI, the chances that AI would do the thing that's in your head, it can get there. But it's not like if you just one shot it, the chances of it landing on the thing that's in your head is very, very it's likely, but it's not impossible. Sorry, but it you know.
Yeah.
Designers, animators, motion graphics, there's still plenty of them that want to get their hands and actually hand animate things, and they want something to be a certain ease, and they want a certain element to follow, because this is, you know, and so they're going to use something like this, and this is a dream come true for them to be able to actually now communicate the thing that's in their head. They're not going to want an agent to try and, they might get an agent to give them a starting point, or they might get an agent to at least attempt it whilst they work on the actual thing, and it might nail it, who knows. But the undeterministic nature means that they still want to you know, hand animate this sort of stuff.
The way I see it, it's like agents. So on the comment of why I see like agents being good at design, like I showed this example previously with like Fable 5 getting these designs. The designs were not, you know, perfect in a way, but they were like really close to where I could I could start. They were like tingling with my imagination. And the way I do things, that I mean, in the show I showed multiple times that I wasn't like prompting well, but I typically don't do this. I talk to Whisper Flow for a long time. Like I Whisper Flow gives you the stats for the most words that you use. For me, one of the most used phrases was "don't just." Don't just. So it's like, don't
Wonder
just
what mine
like
is.
simply do this. Don't just like do this and that. Like I try to be like specific, like do this as well, do this as well. So I'm communicating what I want, but where AI really helps, and I encourage you to use it for design if you haven't, if you're watching this, it helps with starting from somewhere. Like these designs that you see, I'm always like showing these 5 designs, but the reality is that I did much more than 5. These are all the versions that I did, and the way it comes to be is like you start somewhere, it tingles your imagination, it plays with your imagination. You are like, actually I could go that direction, or no, this is bad. So at the end of the day, I feel like I'm very much in control. If I want to imagine something new, I do it. If I want the agent to do some exploration, I tell it to. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to be descriptive, and I think this is what you were also saying, like you are good at getting what you want out of the agent, because I think we are also we have a YouTube show. What we are trying to do and what we have been training to do for years to communicate. I know I'm not particularly good at communicating via text, but I know, like if I can imagine something, I see it in 3D, fully rendered. I see like with the textures rendered in 4K in my head. That's why I can communicate it with the agent. So yeah, don't just like animate everything together. Use proper stagger and give a stagger to the animation as well.
Yeah.
Stagger should have staggers as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to bring this back to when I was like, there's something, I feel like there's something not quite clicking or whatever. What struck me was when you were talking about the technologies that were being used, and that as long as it was exposing the raw information and whatever, I don't care what technology it's using. It's not really what matters. It doesn't in these sorts of tools. The fact is it gets the job done, and again, you can take those raw keyframes and make them CSS animation. You can make a GSAP animation. You can make a Figma Motion animation. All of the other animation libraries out there and whatever. Really, really doesn't matter. And we shouldn't be concerned with those things either. Again, especially when you've got agents, that'll do all the translation and that will figure it out. I had a really interesting conversation. Oh, and by the way, before I say that, I've just opened up Whisperflow. Thank fuck I've got my privacy mode, and I'm not sending my data. I'm storing it all locally on my computer. Not that I've done anything untoward, but that is a gold mine of data collection that Whisperflow could be collecting on you. I bet free users, if you're a free user, I reckon they are absolutely collecting data. But just my catchphrase, and going back to what I was saying earlier, is that I'm always learning and trying to understand things. My catchphrase is, how do I get more information? So I'm always looking for I'm always digging into things and finding out more information, rather than just kind of having it and just accepting it and then moving on. I could break this down a little bit more or something like that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? We were getting into tools and technology, and I've already forgotten because I went on a tangent, as I always do.
Anyway, we're getting close to I have to really go. So
okay, cool.
Wrap it up. So at the end of the day, I would say as a final point, these technologies, these new tools in Figma, they look really interesting. The part that is missing for me personally is okay, where am I going to actually use this while I see the process has already changed, while I'm already doing stuff in Claude Code and my clients are giving me Claude Code websites for me to implement somewhere else? Where is Figma with all these tools going to play a role? I don't know. I will be playing with it, and you can bet on Polymarket that you will hear from us about this again.
before we wrap up, I will just say the thing that I remember the thing I was going to say, because you reminded me of what. So I went out for dinner with my friend the other night, and he's still not totally convinced by AI, but he's so technically minded. Ollie Smith, shout out to Ollie Smith. He's so technically minded in his brain that he's actually really, I feel like he's so he's got a stranglehold of AI. He wants it to do exactly what he wants it to do, and he doesn't want it to deter him, whatever. And my advice to him is like, worry less about things, because whilst, if you remember when we did our little series where I was teaching you how I code and all, how I use AI and stuff like that, at the very beginning we were mentioning files, we were using loads of skills and all this sort of stuff, and whilst I do condone that, and it's still pretty good to use skills, as the AI's got a lot better, the more the less stranglehold I have of it and the technology choices and the things it's doing, because one, I trust it, and two, it does a much better job at figuring out what we want and why we should use certain things, such as, like I was saying to my friend Ollie, why do you care about the tech stack? Why don't you let it decide the tech stack and decide for itself what is the best tech stack for this particular tool that you want to build? Because he wants to build it and using very, very specific tools, and it's like, but you might not know what tools are already out there. So it's like and this is coming from someone who's quite technical, and I like technology and tech stacks and things like that. We're getting to a point where we're just worrying less about the specifics. You know, we're letting the computers figure out the most optimal way of doing things and this and that. Who knows? Figma sites might never exist, and actually they want you to use Claude because they can figure out the junk you've created or the scratch boards you've created inside of Figma, and it'll clean it up and post it in its own website. Cool. Well, that's all we've got time for. If you're on, how many's on YouTube? We've got tons of people today. One person on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, it's probably me somewhere. Give us a like. Two people on YouTube. We're shooting off now, so you've missed it. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Shout out to everyone on Twitter. You're always there for us. Catch us next week for all the latest in AI news, design, dev. Yeah.
You've been Sam.
I don't know. I've been Sam.
And I've been Kamarza.
Keep on vibing.
It's really funny. Peace out.
I swear I've forgotten the